Picture this. Two families start with massive fortunes in the 1800s. One family's wealth grows to over $10 billion today, supporting 200 family members. The other? Their fortune disappeared so completely that when Gloria Vanderbilt died in 2019, her estate was worth just $1.5 million. The Rockefellers and Vanderbilts both built empires that defined American capitalism. John D. Rockefeller controlled the oil industry through Standard Oil. Cornelius Vanderbilt dominated shipping and railroads. At their peaks, Vanderbilt was worth $105 million, while Rockefeller had accumulated $900 million, equivalent to nearly $200 billion today. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite starting with similar wealth, only one family kept it. The difference wasn't luck, market timing, or business acumen. It came down to one thing: how they planned their estates. Most people think estate planning is just writing a will. The wealthy know better. They understand that protecting wealth requires a system, one that works whether you're worth millions or just getting started. Today you'll discover the exact strategies that separated these dynasties. More importantly, you'll learn how to apply these same principles to your situation, no matter your current wealth level. Here's what most people get wrong about estate planning. They think it's about death. They focus on who gets what after they're gone. This mindset destroys wealth before it can even grow. The middle class typically follows this pattern: work hard, save money, buy life insurance, write a will, hope for the best. They treat estate planning like a one-time task instead of an ongoing wealth protection system. This approach has three fatal flaws. First, it ignores taxes. Without proper planning, the government becomes your biggest beneficiary. Second, it doesn't protect assets from lawsuits, creditors, or bad decisions by heirs. Third, it fails to educate the next generation about money management. The Vanderbilts fell into this exact trap. Cornelius Vanderbilt didn't believe in sophisticated estate planning. He gave his assets directly to his children without trusts or protective structures. Each generation split the wealth among more heirs with no system to preserve or grow it. The wealthy think differently. They view estate planning as wealth multiplication, not just wealth transfer. They build systems that protect assets during their lifetime and grow wealth across generations. This shift in thinking changes everything. Instead of planning for death, you're building for life. Instead of just avoiding taxes, you're creating tax advantages. Instead of hoping your kids handle money well, you're teaching them while protecting the wealth. The Rockefellers cracked the code with what experts call the Rockefeller method. At its core sits something most people misunderstand: trusts. When you hear trust fund, you probably think spoiled rich kids. But trusts aren't just for giving money to heirs. They're wealth multiplication machines that work whether you have $50,000 or $50 million. The Rockefellers structured their wealth around two main trusts: the 1934 Family Trust and the 1952 Trust. These weren't simple inheritance vehicles. They were sophisticated wealth engines designed to grow assets across generations while providing tax advantages and asset protection. Here's how this works in practice. Instead of owning assets directly, you place them in a trust. The trust owns your real estate, business interests, and investments. You maintain control through trustee appointments and trust terms, but the assets are legally separate from your personal wealth. This structure provides three key benefits. First, asset protection. If someone sues you personally, they can't touch trust assets. Second, tax advantages. Properly structured trusts can minimize estate taxes and provide income tax benefits. Third, controlled distribution. You decide how and when beneficiaries receive money, preventing wealth destruction through poor decisions. The beauty is, you don't need Rockefeller-level wealth to start. You can establish a revocable living trust for under $2,000 in most states. As your wealth grows, you can add more sophisticated structures like irrevocable trusts and dynasty trusts. The key is starting early and thinking systematically about wealth protection, not just wealth accumulation. Here's something most people never hear about. The Rockefellers created a family constitution. This isn't a legal document filed with courts. It's an internal governance system that defines how the family manages wealth, makes decisions, and passes down values. Think of it as the operating manual for your family's financial future. It answers critical questions. How are family members educated about money? What qualifications must someone meet to access family wealth? How are business decisions made? What values guide the family's financial choices? The Vanderbilts had no such system. When wealth passed to each generation, there were no guidelines for its use, no education requirements, and no shared values around money management. This led to wasteful spending, poor investment decisions and family conflicts that drained the fortune. Your family constitution doesn't need to be complex. Start with basic principles. What values do you want to pass down? How should wealth be used? What education or achievements should heirs demonstrate before accessing family money? Include practical elements too. Establish regular family meetings to discuss finances. Create mentorship programs where older generations teach younger ones about investing and business. Set up systems for family members to propose and evaluate investment opportunities together. The Constitution also addresses conflict resolution. Wealthy families know that money creates disputes. By establishing clear processes for decision-making and disagreement resolution, you prevent conflicts from destroying wealth. This approach works at any wealth level. Whether you're passing down $100,000 or $100 million, having clear family guidelines protects both relationships and resources. The Rockefellers pioneered something that seems counterintuitive: giving away money to keep more of it. Their charitable giving wasn't just generosity, it was strategic wealth preservation. Here's how this works. When you give money to charity, you get immediate tax deductions. But the wealthy take this further through charitable remainder trusts and donor-advised funds. These vehicles let you give assets away while maintaining income streams and control over distribution timing. A charitable remainder trust is particularly powerful. You transfer assets to the trust, which pays you income for life. When you die, the remaining assets go to charity. Meanwhile, you get immediate tax deductions and remove appreciating assets from your taxable estate. The Rockefellers used this strategy to reduce their tax burden while supporting causes they cared about. The philanthropic activities also enhanced their family reputation and provided meaningful work for family members across generations. You don't need millions to use these strategies. Community foundations offer donor-advised funds with minimums as low as $5,000. You contribute money or assets, get immediate tax deductions, then recommend grants to charities over time. The key insight is viewing charitable giving as part of your overall wealth strategy, not separate from it. When done correctly, giving money away can actually help you keep more wealth in your family while making a positive impact. This mindset shift, from viewing taxes as inevitable to seeing them as manageable through strategic planning, separates successful wealth builders from those who lose their fortunes to the government. The Rockefellers understood something that destroyed the Vanderbilts. Wealth grows exponentially when protected from interference. They structured their estate to harness compound growth across multiple generations without interruption from taxes, lawsuits, or poor decisions by individual family members. This concept goes beyond simple investing. It's about creating systems that protect the compounding process itself. When wealth compounds uninterrupted for decades, the results become extraordinary. But most families disrupt this process through poor planning. The Vanderbilts illustrate the opposite approach. Each generation received wealth outright and made independent decisions about its use. Some invested wisely, others spent lavishly. There was no coordinated strategy to maintain compound growth across the family system. The Rockefellers solved this by keeping significant assets in professionally managed trusts that could make long-term investment decisions without interference from individual family members' immediate needs or wants. The trusts maintained diversified portfolios focused on long-term growth rather than short-term consumption. You can apply this principle regardless of your wealth level. Instead of leaving money directly to children, consider trust structures that provide for their needs while keeping the principal growing. Set up education requirements before heirs can access funds. Create incentives for productive behavior rather than passive consumption. The goal is building wealth that grows faster than it's consumed. This requires protecting the growth engine from the natural human tendency to spend available money. Successful families build systems that satisfy individual needs while preserving the wealth-building capacity for future generations. Now let's get practical. You can start implementing these strategies immediately, regardless of your current wealth level. Here's your step-by-step action plan. First, establish basic estate planning documents. Create a revocable living trust, will, power of attorney, and healthcare directives. This foundation costs $1,000 to $3,000, but provides immediate asset protection and avoids probate costs that can consume 5 to 10% of your estate. Second, start your family constitution. Begin with one page outlining your core values around money and wealth. Add education requirements for accessing family funds, perhaps completing financial literacy courses or demonstrating productive career progress. Include conflict resolution procedures and regular family meeting schedules. Third, explore charitable giving strategies. Open a donor-advised fund with $5,000 to $10,000. This provides immediate tax benefits while establishing a family tradition of strategic giving. As your wealth grows, consider more sophisticated charitable vehicles. Fourth, optimize your trust structures. As your assets exceed $500,000, explore irrevocable trusts for additional tax benefits and asset protection. Consider dynasty trusts if your state allows them. These can protect wealth for multiple generations. Fifth, implement professional management. The Rockefellers succeeded partly because they used professional money managers rather than making all investment decisions personally. Even with modest wealth, consider working with fee-only financial advisors who understand estate planning integration. Sixth, educate your family. Start regular money conversations with your children. Teach basic investing concepts. Consider formal financial education programs. The goal is preparing the next generation to handle wealth responsibly. Remember, this is a process, not a one-time event. Start with the basics and add complexity as your wealth and knowledge grow. The difference between the Rockefellers and Vanderbilts wasn't their business success. Both built massive fortunes. The difference was their approach to preserving and growing wealth across generations. The Vanderbilts treated wealth as consumption opportunity. The Rockefellers treated it as responsibility and legacy. One approach leads to depletion, the other to multiplication. You don't need billions to benefit from these lessons. The principles work whether you're protecting $50,000 or $50 million. Start with proper legal structures, add family governance systems, implement tax-efficient giving strategies, and protect the compound growth process. The wealthy don't just accumulate money, they build wealth systems that work across generations. These systems protect against taxes, lawsuits, bad decisions, and family conflicts, while creating opportunities for continued growth. Your legacy isn't determined by how much you make, but by how well you protect and structure what you build. The Rockefeller strategies prove that with proper planning, wealth can grow and benefit families for centuries. The best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Don't let your family's wealth follow the Vanderbilt path when the Rockefeller method is available to everyone willing to implement it. If you learned anything from this video, subscribe, like, and comment, then click the notification bell to get notified about new videos. Take action on these strategies now. Your future generations will thank you for building a legacy that lasts.